Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast. And yes, I know I have taken quite some time off, guys. I apologize for that. I've had so much crazy stuff going on, so busy with work and other stuff, family and all this. And I'm sorry I haven't gotten to you. I'm kind of doing, I don't want to say a little bit of a shift change with the podcast, but I definitely have been trying to rework some things, and I'm trying to guide this podcast into a certain direction now. I had after having some time off, I've gotten a little more clarity on what I really want this to become as a whole for the future. And I kind of want to share that with you guys today, so bear with me on this. I can't promise it's going to be the most entertaining podcast. However, there's two major points that I want to bring up today. One is the direction of the show and where I want it to go. And two, a little bit of an off subject, but I really want to dive into the haters and trolls and why you should stay away from being the type of person that is the insulting, angry, miserable, just I want to dive into that. I'll just give you, that's a little bit of a preview. So, but with that being said, first I want to talk about where we're going, what we are trying to accomplish with this. And, you know, I've really been thinking about this a lot, and I didn't really know of a good way to kind of work it in with the current format of the show. But I think here's what I want to do. This show now is basically going to be two things. It's going to be everything that, you know, it already has been. So if you are a fan of the show, if you're if you like it, if you're happy that I'm doing this or whatever, and you want it to continue, you're in luck, because I am going to continue doing these things. I want to give advice to people. I want to get helpful advice, hopefully. I want to guide people to being more positive, helpful, happy people, which also stems why I'm bringing up this whole troll and hater thing in the second part, I guess. But the other thing about the show is I've always wanted it to be based around interviewing people and like finding out who people are, like why you are the way you are. I've always been fascinated. That's like one of my most number one things in the world is I am fascinated by what makes people who they are. What experiences, what perspective, how did you grow up? What environment did you have? How was your parenting? How was your childhood? All these things. I like to know what makes you who you are. Why do you have the job that you have? Why do you have the interests that you have? Why do you think the way that you think? All of that. So it's going to basically be getting down to I've always been infatuated by the idea of origin stories. As a kid growing up with comic books and stuff, I've always loved the origin of a superhero way more than the things that they do once they're big and famous. Like Superman, finding out how he became Superman, finding out about his childhood. When I was growing up, around the time I was in high school and in my early to mid-20s, was the show Smallville. Smallville was one of my favorite shows ever because I always loved the idea of Superman, and I liked that hearing about how was Superman as a teenager? How was he as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult? Like what made him become who he was and why he thinks the way he does and all these things, I've always loved that stuff. And same thing with all the other superheroes and all that. But that being said, I want to do that. It made me realize that this is what I want to do with people. If you have any kind of success, I don't even care if you work at the Speedway gas station. I want to know what got you there. What was your childhood like? Why are you the way that you are? And so that is kind of the direction that I want this show to eventually go. When I can get more on a video format, when I can start doing, like Zoom calls, like loading up videos live, or doing a live thing. But when I can start interviewing people more and finding out, okay, here's where you are now. What steps did you take to get there? Because somebody may listen to that and may really like the person that I'm interviewing, or like the job that they do, or like the path that they're on. And maybe they want to see some steps that will help them get there too. And that's what I want to do. So many people are in a position where they're angry and bitter and miserable, where they don't feel like they have hope. They don't feel like they know the proper steps that it's going to take to get them there. And I just want to help you. I just want to help people see that no matter where you are in life today, there is hope for you to get where you want to be, as long as you take the proper steps. And you have to be accountable for yourself. When you make mistakes, it's okay that you make mistakes. We all do. Nobody on earth has ever been perfect and not in mistake free. So knowing that we are all flawed, where do we go from here? Anytime you make a mistake, don't run from the mistake. Don't blame other people. Understand what happened to make that mistake happen. Understand what you did. And so you can learn from that to try to avoid doing it in the future. See, I'm all about, like, we all make mistakes, but do you learn from them is the key. So that is what I'm trying to help people accomplish. So as far as the direction of the show and where we want to go from here on out, I've had a lot of time to process this and think about this, and this has kind of always been what I've wanted. I just didn't really know how to work it in or make it happen and get there. With the show being called Really Rich, I've said it from day one, it's not about making money. If that's all you care about, you're probably listening to the wrong show. Now, I'm hoping you make money. I'm hoping that if you really care about making money, that whatever it is that you accomplish will lead you to that. However, understand that what things that you can do in life that make you happy, if you can do them a lot and successfully, that will lead to money. So if you care about making money, if you've grown, here's the thing is, my parents grew up in more of a poor setting than I did. They had a lot more money toward, to help me growing up than they had when they were growing up. But the one thing that they've always instilled into my head is how little the value of money really is. It's always good as far as paying your bills and making sure that you have a home and you have food on your plate and that you have your needs. But as far as your wants, money it's cool for buying wants, but wants aren't survival. They're not your needs. The things that you need to survive, I want you to make sure that you have those things. But if you think that a yacht is going to somehow make you, feel like you've made it, or make you have this over expression of joy in your life, you're sadly mistaken, dude. Everyone who has a yacht is sick of that yacht 5 years later. Or doesn't care about it anymore, is the point. But what I'm saying is everything that you buy that you think is going to make you happy, eventually you are used to that thing, and that thing no longer provides you happiness. I say it all the time. Anything that you buy gives you momentary happiness. It will make you happy for a moment. You go to the movies. Most people like going to the movies. You pay the money to see the movie. You see the 2-hour movie, whatever it is, and you're happy that you see that movie. But how do you feel about that exact same movie 10 years from now? Are you overfilled with joy that you went to the movies to see that movie? Maybe on rare occasions, like when the Star Wars just came back out after it had been gone for 20, 30 years, right? There's certain moments, right, that last as far as your memories. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if you buy a series of 30 cars in your entire life, from the time you turn, 16 or whatever, to the time you can drive, to the time you die, does every single car you ever bought hit you the exact same way? Do you feel the exact same way about it? Does it bring you nonstop joy for 50 years? No, of course not. You buy a car, you love it day one, you love it the first week, you love it the first month. Then after the first year, you're like, well, it's cool that I have this car, but it's not, maybe I'd like a new one. Maybe I see a brand new one that just hits me and I really want that one. The point is, you lose interest after a while. All the things that you purchase to make you happy eventually don't bring you that same happiness that it once did. So what I'm trying to do is show you that you need to focus on the things that continually bring you happiness, like the things that when you were 8 years old, 15 years old, 25 years old, 35 years old, when you are happy at the same thing for that long, that is what makes you happy. That is what I'm trying to get you to focus in on, because that is the eternal stuff. That's the stuff that like doesn't get old. That's the stuff that whatever sets you on fire, makes you like filled with joy every day that you wake up to do something. That's what I want you to be focusing on. Not for my sake. I don't care. It doesn't benefit me at all. But for your sake. So what I want to do is when I start doing more and more interviews and I'm putting those out there, I want to do this in the sense I want to show the origin of how that person got there. When you see a person that is successful or happy or talented or just they're thrilled to be doing what they're doing and they're thrilled to have what they have, I want to lay out the blueprint for you to let you see how that happens. It's not just me telling you, you're witnessing it, you're watching it play out. So like, say if I was able to interview Joe Rogan, he is living his dream. He loves what he does. He said he loves podcast. He was doing it for free for the last not the whole time he wasn't doing it for free. He's getting paid handsomely now. But when he started it, he wasn't getting paid a penny. He just said, he admitted that he just liked to do it to screw around with his friends. He thought it was fun and they did it. And he's still doing it. If you are willing to do something all the time for free, you really love it. That is what you need to be focused in on. And so what I want to do with the interviews and the origin stories, if you will, is I want to show what makes you really rich, what makes you really feel wealthy in life is when you're infinitely happy. That is what makes you rich. When you are rich with wonderful family, great health, things that fulfill you and make you smile day after day after day. That is what it means to be really rich. Not money, not finances, not paying off a mansion or a yacht, but when you are fulfilled daily and you don't even think about depression. Of course, there's going to be moments that make you upset, like somebody cut you off in traffic, somebody gets promoted over you when you feel like you deserved it. Things are going to happen in life that are not going to make you happy. But when you can see every single negative and then find a positive to flip it, to make you smile and to make you appreciate the quote unquote negative experience, that is where I want every single person to be. If you can get like that, you've already won. So that's what I want to help people find. Now that we got that part, the vision of the future for this show, right? Now that we got that out of the way, I really want to zero in on the opposite, the counter to that, which is the trolling and the negativity, the insult. When people are constantly consuming things they don't like just to get them angry, just for them to go and start spewing more negativity and more insults and more hatred towards anyone, you've lost. You are losing that battle. And I just want you to know, like, listen, I don't care. I make this regularly known. I don't care when people are insulting to me. I don't care when they say stuff. It literally does not bother me. Of course, I would prefer them to not do that, but it's more about you. It's more about what it makes me think of you, not in an insulting way, not like I think I'm better than you or anything like that. It's just, I think that you have to be a broken, sad individual to be doing things like that regularly. When all you do is find negativity and things that make you upset, and then you spew insults or anger or negativity to somebody else, not only are you trying to take away their joy, you're trying to eliminate their positivity, but it's a resume builder for you. This is, I've done a TikTok on this, where this is building a resume. Every single comment that you put out on any social media platform, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, pick one. It doesn't matter. Any single thing any comment that you put out there for the world that is public, that can never be taken away, and I guess unless you delete it later. But you have to understand what this shows the world about you. People are going to look back at this 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, and they're going to be looking at those posts that you made, those comments that you made, And when they're bad, when they're negative, when they're insulting, nobody is going to look at those comments and be like, man, that person was out there fighting for a good cause. They're not looking at it like that. Every single person that sees that negativity that you spewed on a positive message or a message of, something you disagree with, I don't care if it's political. Say you're a Biden supporter and you spew negativity on a Trump supporter's page, or you're a Trump supporter and you spew negativity on a Biden supporter's page. All you are doing is you're showing the world how you are. This does nothing for the actual person, especially if it's just an insult. See, if you don't offer an actual legitimate, intelligent counter argument to what that person's saying, then it's going to be looked at as you're just trolling, you're just negative, you're just a hater. This is a reflection on who you are as a human being. You have to understand that. Nobody is looking back at this and being like, oh, that person, the video was about how Trump is a great guy, and then this person said, screw you, screw Trump, Biden 2020. If somebody says that, nobody is going to look back at that comment and be like, you're dumb, Trump's dumb, Biden 2020, and be like, yep, that guy was a real hero. That girl was a real hero for what she said about Trump and that person. Like, nobody thinks that way, guys, and you just have to see this. You are building your own personal resume with the constant attacks, the insults, the negativity, and then every now and again you see a puppy video and you're like, that's a cute puppy. Like, nobody is going to be fooled by this. You have to regulate what you are sending out to the world because it will come back to you later. Think about your future. That's all I'm saying. If you still feel the need to want to drop insults, then be my guest. But this is just about you and who you are. This does not reflect the person making the content. This does not reflect the view of the person that you disagree with. This is purely about you and what you are putting out to the world, and you are not hiding it. You're putting it out on public chats, public forums, public social media platforms. So people, just be thoughtful about that when you are going further in your life, that everything you put out publicly is now documented. And even if you think that you can delete it and get rid of it, somebody out there may have already taken a screenshot. They may just be waiting to pile onto your downfall. So think about that stuff, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't care if you live your life. If you think that spewing negativity and anger and hate is going to bring happiness to you, I mean, I'm sorry. One, it's not. Maybe you think it is. That's cool. But you have no idea the ramifications that could come from this years down the road. You may change who you are as a human. You may do all of this negative stuff now, and you may be like, oh, this person's dumb, they're ugly, I can't stand them, they're stupid. You may be putting out all that information now thinking that it's great for you and that you look like a hero and you look like such a smart person. But nobody thinks that it makes you look smart. They may, unless you offer a counter position. That's all I'm trying to say is stop spewing the negative insults and just offer up the alternative. If you really believe that that person's wrong, then offer the quote unquote right information. Show why you're smarter. Show why you are correct. That is infinitely more valuable and more important and better looking on you than any kind of, oh, that person's dumb. Oh, they're voting for Trump, they're an idiot. You're voting for Trump, you're a racist. You're voting for Trump, you're a bigot. You're voting for Trump, you're a homophobe, whatever. Oh, you're voting for Biden, you're a pedophile. Like, none of this stuff is actually going to make you look like a hero. You might get a couple of likes. Sure, get that adrenaline pumping for a few seconds. That's cool. But then you're going to go back to your normal life, and then 10 years from now, somebody's going to be like, oh, this person called somebody the N-word. They got 7 likes for it by 7 other racists. But none of you guys are going to look like heroes in the future. And that's the point. So if this is what you live for, if this is what you want, is you want a future where you constantly look like a horrible human being, then by all means keep doing it. But it's never a winning strategy. If you 10 years from now decide, I want to open up a business and I want to help people, I want to be a charity, and then that person has access to all your information that you put out in the world 10 years ago, and you look like an absolute disaster or a dumpster fire of a human being, then that's on you. You're ruining your potential future based on your constant obsession for hatred. today, or your constant obsession with needing to look like, hey, I'm going to insult this guy, and then people are going to be like, yeah, and then that's going to make me look good to 8 people for the next 5 minutes. That's not a winning strategy for you and your future. All I'm saying is don't think about it in political terms. Don't do anything today that's going to eliminate your political future. Meaning, don't do, like if when you see right now, you see like some of these world leaders, like I believe it's Justin Trudeau in Canada, the Canadian Prime Minister. The guy wore blackface like 6 times when he was a younger man. That's not helpful today. So maybe it seemed like a good idea. Maybe he's got some excuses. Maybe they're good. That's cool. All I'm saying is think about where you might end up 20 years from now. Do you really want to just be thoughtful about the comments and your actions that you do today? Do you really want this to be on your resume 20 years from now? 10 years from now, 5 years from now, a year from now? Who knows? With the way cancel culture's going, it could be 5 minutes from now. Is this really what you want your legacy to look like? That's all I'm saying, guys. Do whatever makes you happy. That's fine. But just understand that you have to be accountable for yourself. You have to understand what's going to happen to you in the future, or what could potentially happen if this kind of information gets out. Don't do anything that will destroy your potential future. You're building a resume with every public comment you put out, every video you put out, every single thing that you do in the public world is being documented and filmed as we speak. Think about that for your life, for your future. That's all I got, guys. I just wanted to give you an update about where this show is headed, and I wanted to give some what I believe to be very helpful advice going forward in the future for anybody that is just spewing negativity like crazy. Think about what this makes you look like and what kind of resume you're building, your legacy that you are building for the rest of your life. I love you guys, and I thank you for listening. And listen, there has been some changes in the last, now to find me on almost all social platforms, you can just type in, it's Adam Rich. No apostrophe, no uppercase, everything, no spaces, just ITS Adam Rich, all lowercase. You can usually find that on pretty much any platform now. I believe Twitter's like that, Instagram. I've changed a lot. So I wanted to make things more uniform so I didn't have to go through a massive spiel at the end. Oh, Snapchat's like this and Facebook's like this and Instagram's like this. And it's very confusing. I get it, guys. So I finally put in the time to try to correct. And there's still a few that I have to work on because a couple of them, I couldn't use that name or whatever, or I couldn't change something with enough time. So anyway, we're working on it. We're getting it better, but It's Adam Rich is where you can find most of all my stuff now. And the Really Rich podcast, guys, I thank you so much for listening. We have not gone away. We are not done. I just needed some time off to kind of reevaluate and redo some things and get some other stuff taken care of outside of the podcast world in my actual life. So I love you guys, and I thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking by me. Thanks for not leaving. And we'll try to be better in the future. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Peace. I'm out of here.